This is the Red Line, and I am your host, Jimmy Red. Thanks for tuning in. Week 12 of the NFL in the books. We're on to Week 13, folks. I am pumped. We had some good games this weekend. We got some even better ones coming up this weekend. But before we get into all that, we got a couple of sad things we want to pass on to you guys real fast. I know everybody's probably heard about this, but we had a passing of Bob McNair. Bob McNair was the guy who had his hand in on getting football back to Texas, to Houston, actually. And he got them back after the Oilers left, and he had his hand in on doing that, and the NFL awarded him the 32nd team to Houston, now being the Texans, and we lost him the other day. He was 80 years old, so our condolences go out to his family and the loss of Bob McNair. Also, Andy Dalton is done for the year. He has broken his thumb. He is done for the year. He is placed on IR, so that's another tough one to take. Shout out to the Redhead Brethren. Hopefully you get healed up, ready to go, and have a little bit better year next year for the Bengals. You guys have not had the season you guys have wanted for sure. Started off fantastic, but went down here very fast. So that's some news we want to get out of the way. And with that being said, we're going to get into a more positive note. And we're going to start this off with the power rankings, according to Red. The top 5 teams, according to me, here they are, coming right out of the gates. Number 5, I got the Bears. Everybody's saying, what? The Bears? Well, hold on, folks. The Bears are not the worst team there is. The Bears are actually pretty good. They got an awesome pass rusher. They got a good coach with Nagy, who just came over, and Trubisky looks very good. Plus, their receivers are catching the ball. They've put up some big wins. I think they're in at 5. I think they're the fifth best team in the NFL. At 4, I have the Chiefs. Still got that offense. They allow a lot of points to get scored against them, though. But they have that offense that can put points on the board. I have the Chiefs in at 4. Number 3, I have the Patriots. And a lot of people say, well, why are the Patriots in at 3? They're not that great. Well, I mean, if you guys look at it, if they don't turn the football over, which is what they most of the time do not do, they are 125-15. They are the least penalized team in the NFL. They have Tom Brady as a quarterback, and they have the best head coach in football. So all the factors that they always have on their side are there. I got them in at 3. I think they're still Super Bowl contenders. Number 2, I have the Saints. They just got their 10th win of the season. They look good, rolling away, look good. They're going to win the conference after the loss with Carolina this week. So I got the Saints in at 2. And then up top, I got the Rams. A lot of people say the Rams are not going to be able to travel and beat the Saints in the Superdome, but I think the Rams are tough. They got a good defense. The offense looks good. They're not really struggling with too many injuries. The only injury they really have is Cooper Kupp, the wide receiver, but they have great defense. They allow points to get put up against them, but when that defense needs to step up with Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh, Akeem Talib, and all those guys, plus Deontay Flower, they step up and they play football on the defensive side. They pick on Marcus Peters, but, I mean, what can I say? They can put points on the board as well with you and hang with you. So I got the Rams in at number 1 still. So my top 5 are Bears 5, Chiefs 4, Pats 3, Saints 2, and Rams in at number 1. With that being said, I'm also going to do my MVP breakdown for you. I'm going to give you my top 4 candidates for the MVP race. I got in at 4, Patrick Mahomes. He looks phenomenal. I can't put him any higher than that. Reason being he's only a rookie. We don't have really anything to bridge off of what he's going to develop into. His numbers have went down. His 2 losses of people that he should have beat were big losses. He got beat by Jared Goff, and he got beat by Tom Brady. I can't put him any higher than that, especially above Brady. So I got to put him in at 4. I got Brady in at 3. Brady looks phenomenal. Having a good year. Always doing what Tom Brady stuff does. Not turning the football over. Winning games. Doing Tom Brady things. So Tom Brady in at 3. And number 2, this is the one that's going to shock a lot of people, and I said it at the start of the year. And I know I've said it. I said Andrew Luck is coming back, and he's going to look good. And guess what he's done? He looks good. He's turned Eric Ebron into an awesome wide receiver, which is a tight end now into a wide receiver pretty much. But Andrew Luck has turned that team around. They're on 5 straight wins. They look great. I got Andrew Luck as number 2 for the MVP. And then I don't think there's anybody close right now to even touch the man at the top of the board. He's only thrown 1 interception all year, that being Drew Brees. Drew Brees looks phenomenal. Top of the board, Drew Brees. Easy MVP favorite right now. So let's do it. And with that being said, we're going to go right into it, and we're going to break down the games from last week. We're going to tell you who we chose and what the scores ended up being, and then we're going to tell you what happened. Thursday, which will be Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody who watched football. One of the best things you can do, most American things you can do. You can eat turkey, hang out with your family, and watch football. And one of those games, obviously, was the Falcons and the Saints. I watched it. I thought it was going to be a blowout, and pretty much what it turned out to be. I said 42-27, 31-17. Basically, what was predicted. It was going to be a blowout. Drew Brees went in there, did exactly what he needed to do. He threw the football for 377 yards, two touchdowns, and an interception. Oh, no, that was Matt Ryan who threw for all that. And then Brees only threw for 171 yards, but he did what he needed to do because he threw 4 touchdowns. So, what can you say? Alvin Kamara ran the ball, didn't get 100, but he was close, 89 yards on only 14 carries, so he did what he was supposed to do, and that wide receiving core for them still did exactly what they needed to do for New Orleans. I mean, Michael Thomas did what he needed to do. They played football like the Saints. They can beat you in so many different ways that they don't have to always run the football or throw the ball with Drew Brees, and they forced turnovers on the defensive side from Atlanta, and Atlanta's defense is obviously not that good as it is anyways. They got the offense to turn the ball over for Atlanta 4 times. When you have Atlanta turn the ball over 4 times and their defense is terrible, they're not going to hang around, and they didn't. Atlanta had more yards in the game, but when the ball got turned over, it was great field position for the Saints, and they didn't have to put a whole lot of yards up. They just put points on the board with quick, easy passes, a quick, easy run. So the Saints did exactly what they needed to do, dominated that game from start to finish, and pretty much told everybody, hey, we're here to win the NFC South, and they made a statement and let everybody know it for sure. Another game was the Giants and the Eagles. Man, I was this close to being right on that game. I was this close. I said the Giants were going to win that game 26-20 over the Eagles. I was this close. The Giants, I don't know what happened to them. I mean, it was incredible. They were up by 9. They were up at half. They were up 19 at one point. And then they allowed them right back in the game. I mean, they looked like a completely different team in the second half. They threw the ball 4 times, I think, in the second half. They forgot about Saquon Barkley in the second half. Saquon is the one who put all of it up for him in the first half and looked like a phenomenal machine out there. Over 100 yards, 13 rushes. He caught the ball. Odell Beckham only had 85 yards on 5 catches, so he didn't do nothing. But Saquon was catching the ball. He was running the ball. And he looked like a phenom out there. And Carson Wentz of old looks like he is back. Carson Wentz seems to have found his rhythm, throwing the football again. Him and Zach Ertz starting to lock back up, put points on the board. And Philly let people know, hey, we're not out of this division yet. The Redskins, Cowboys, look out. We're still here. The Giants, they're pretty much done. My prediction of them going 9-7 is out the window because they've lost 8 games now, so the 9-7 is gone. So I'm wrong there. I'll admit you guys on that one. But I thought the Giants were going to pull it out. I really did. I thought the Giants had this when they had them on the ropes against Philly. Were unable to pull it out after they let them claw back into it, as mentioned. But it was a good game all in all. Good job to Philadelphia on the win there, coming back with the come-from-behind win. 25-22 Philly over the Giants. Seahawks and Panthers. Man, that one hurt. This one hurt for sure. Because I thought Carolina was going to do it. I really did. They were up 3 at half. And then they just let it go from there. Christian McCaffrey had a great game. 125 yards, touchdown, looked like a machine. He caught one and he rushed for one, both. He had 100 yards, he had 125 yards rushing and over 110 yards in receiving. So he had like a 235-yard day for Christian McCaffrey. A machine. Get you some C-Mac. But I think the problem with Carolina was when Ron Rivera just played for the field goal at the end of the game. Gano's been struggling the last few weeks. He's missed a couple of field goals. He missed 2 field goals and an extra point 2 weeks ago. This week he seemed to be pretty spot on, but he struggles, and we've known that. So don't play for a 50-yard field goal. Play to score a touchdown. They missed the field goal. Russell Wilson then got the ball and just converted a 4th down. They put points on the board, and they won the game, 30-27. Russell Wilson just flat out went out there, put his team on his back in the 4th quarter when it mattered, took them down the field, and beat Carolina 30-27. Plain and simple. That's what he did. He hung around all day. They did what they needed to do to stick around. Carolina had 2 bad calls, cost them 2 games so far, back-to-back weeks. One call being playing for the field goal this week, and then last week going for the 2 points. So 2 bad calls have gave Carolina 2 losses, knocked them out of contention for the division, and as of right now, they're not even in a wild card spot to make the playoffs. So Carolina needs to figure it out, and they need to remember, 2 out of the last final weeks that they play football, they play against the Saints. So they're going to have 2 tough matchups against the Saints coming up here very recently. So they need to find a way to get on track, play football, and try to figure out how they're going to get themselves into the playoffs. Because 2 bad calls have cost them 2 bad losses. Carolina needs to figure out what's going on and get going. Because the defense does not look the same. And I think he's on his way out, by the way. Washington, I think he's on his way out as the defensive coordinator. I think they're going to send him packing. Packers and the Vikings. Man, let me tell you something here. Well, that one there I had the score being 27-26. Packers win it by 1. It was 17-24 Minnesota. Well, that makes the Packers 0-5 on the road this year. And that is their 8th straight road loss consistently in a row. They are one of 2 teams in the NFL without a road win this year. The other team being the 49ers. The 49ers got a backup quarterback in there. Their 3rd-string quarterback now. Their 2nd-string quarterback was C.J. Beathard. Now they're to the 3rd-string quarterback because Garoppolo's hurt. And I don't know. They can't do anything at U.S. Bank Stadium. In 2018, they put up 17 points. In 2017, they put up 14 points. In 2016, they put up 10 points. Every other road game, every other one, every one they travel to, they put up over 25 points a game. The only place they can't do it is some reason in Minnesota. And I don't get why they can't do it. I don't know why. It's a tough place. I understand that. But the point being, you got to find a way to put points up on the board. Or you got to find a way to have your defense step up. And they were unable to do it. And Aaron Rodgers didn't have a great game either. He threw for 198 yards and a touchdown. He tried to do it himself, but Kirk Cousins is the one that was the phenom of that game for sure. He threw for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's the one who did it. His wide receiver and him, Adam Thielen, they look phenomenal, look that way all year, and they're sticking it together. And Aaron Rodgers against Kirk Cousins is 0-2-1. Cousins is 2-0-1. Cousins has a better completion percentage, a better pass yards per game, and the touchdown to interception ratio. Aaron Rodgers is 5-0, and Kirk Cousins is 10-1. Basically, they're even right there because Aaron's only got 5 touchdowns. He's got 10 and 1, so basically it's 5-1. They're pretty much even right there. And then you start thinking about Aaron Rodgers. You say, well, Aaron Rodgers, he's got 4 wins this year. But yeah, look at his wins. Look at the wins Aaron Rodgers has got. Aaron Rodgers has got a win against the Bears, quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. He's got a win against the Bills, Josh Allen. He's got a win against the Niners, which was after Garoppolo got hurt. So he played against C.J. Beathard, the kid out of Iowa, got the win. Played against Brock Osweiler and got the win. His losses all this year come to Alex Smith, which was the Skins, the Lions, Matt Stafford, the Rams, Jared Goff, the Pats, Tom Brady, the Vikings of Kirk Cousins, who he also tied with, and he lost to Russell Wilson. So all of these quarterbacks that are big and big-name quarterbacks are the ones he's losing to. The small little guys are the one he's beating. And to me, AR needs to find a way to step it up because considering his offensive line has got him sacked 34 times yet this year, and the most he's been sacked in a single season is 35, that means he's allowed one more sack for the rest of the year. And if he gets sacked one more time, then he's got a new record for sacks in a season. And has that got to do with his offensive line? Or has that got to do with Aaron Rodgers trying to ad-lib and get outside of the pocket and make stuff happen and then just not being able to do it because the age has caught up to him? That, to me, is nuts. Plus, when he enters the fourth quarter to a team that has a winning record at that current time. So I'm not saying throughout the whole season. I'm saying at that current time when those two teams meet, their opponents have a winning record. He is 0-37 when entering the fourth quarter down by 1. He's never came back against a winning team when he's trailing entering the fourth quarter. And to me, Aaron Rodgers needs to fix that stat for sure. He needs to at least get a win in that column because he is a phenomenal quarterback. He is a phenom. He is fantastic. And he needs to get a 1 at least in that stat line. Plus, this is the craziest one to me right here that just shocks me to death, is that division has the Lions in it, it has the Vikings in it, it has the Bears, and it has the Packers. Those are your 4 teams in it. It has the 1, 3, 5, and 26 highest paid quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is first, and then number 2 is Matt Ryan, who is not in that division. He plays for the Atlanta Falcons. And then third, you have Kirk Cousins. And then you have Matt Stafford in 5th, and then the 26th highest paid quarterback is the one leading the division with the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky, with a rookie coach, and his sophomore year, the kid that nobody heard of coming out of the University of North Carolina, is leading his team to the division. I'm not saying defense isn't helping at all, because obviously they went and picked up a huge defensive end in Khalil Mack, which is phenomenal. But just to know that you can pay your quarterback a lot of money, but you're going to lose it somewhere else is tough to me. And a thing for the Vikings, they've won 33 straight games when they're up by 10 points or more. They've not lost when they're up by 10 or more, and that is the longest active streak in the NFL. So basically, if the Vikings get up by you on 10, you might as well just go home, because they're going to win. I mean, they've won 34 straight. The streak was 33 entering, now it's 34. And basically, if Minnesota gets up on you, just go home. If they get up by 10, you've lost. That's how you look at it right there. That's a tough way to look at it. And Aaron Rodgers had a conference after that game, and they said, what do you got to do? He says, we got to go here. We got to win. We got to go here. We got to win. Basically said you got to go to the next 4 games. They got to win. And they need help because they're not going to get in. But then they got to play on the road in a wild card game somewhere, and then on the road again, and on the road again to get to the Super Bowl. It's going to be tough because you're going to probably play the Rams, and you're probably going to play the Saints. You're going to play them both. And that's going to be tough. Back-to-back weeks playing those tough teams. If you're able to get in, good luck. I think the Packers season is pretty much over, and I think Mike McCarthy is on his way out the door. Another game was the conference matchup that I was pretty excited for. AFC South. That was the Titans and the Texans. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I said 22-18 Titans would win that game. Man, I was wrong. 34-17 Titans did not show up, although Marcus Mariota only had 1 incomplete pass in that entire game. He was 22 for 23. Him and Phillip Rivers have a new completion record for NFL, so huge shout out to both of them for new completion records in a game. That was pretty cool for both of them to get. But Mariota only incompleting 1 pass. Most of the passes they're doing now in the NFL are just little short dump passes. But Mariota had 303 yards, and they still got crushed, which in my mind kind of takes away from Phillip Rivers doing what he did, because Phillip Rivers got the win. He didn't, so kind of takes away from what Phillip Rivers did in my mind, but that's fine. Deshaun Watson, he still looks phenomenal. Corey Davis ran the ball a little bit for Carolina. Derrick Henry tried to do the ground and pound right up the middle, but he couldn't do it against that Houston defense. Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt, too strong, too big, couldn't get through there. They just manhandled him like it was their day. Lamar Miller ran phenomenal. He ran the ball for 97 yards on one play, took off right up the middle, gone. He ended up with 162 yards and a touchdown because of the 97-yarder, so a great run by him. Corey Davis, he's starting to step up and look like the receiver that Tennessee needs as the number 1 man, with Delaney Walker being hurt. But they did not have the firepower. Still a 2-game lead over the Colts in the division after the Colts got the big win this week. After they got that with the 10-point comeback from Andrew Luck, which nice job for Andrew Luck doing that. Getting their 5th straight win. They came back from 20. They came down by 10 points. Took his team down the field, got him back in it. Hit the walk-off field goal by Adam Vinatieri to lift him up 24-27 over the Dolphins. And he has found a new target, folks. Eric Ebron. That is his new target. Eric Ebron played 4 years with the Lions and had 11 touchdowns with Stafford. And he's a bust. He's a bust. He can't hold on to football. He comes and plays 11 games in Indianapolis. He's got 11 touchdowns. He is tied. That's right. I said tied. He's a tight end. Remember that. He's not even a number 2 wide receiver. He's a tight end. Number 1 wide receiver is T.Y. Hilton, and their number 2 wide receiver is Rodgers. I don't even know what his Jaquez. No, it's not Jaquez. It's something Rodgers. I don't even remember what his name is. It's Rodgers. See, their number 2 wide receiver. Chester Rogers is it. Sorry, Chester Rogers is their number 2 wide receiver. Well, Eric Ebron looks phenomenal. He is tied as a tight end with Antonio Brown and Tyreek Hill for the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL. What? He was a bust in Detroit, but now he's tied for most receiving touchdowns in the NFL with 11. Huge shout out to Andrew Luck for getting that guy's career back on track, because he was pretty much in the dumps, gone, rode off. Nobody wanted nothing to do with him, and he went out there, and he's brought this guy back to life. So They're still only 2 games back in the division. If Tennessee would have got this win, it would have brought them within 1. Still 2 games back. Now Tennessee falls a game behind Indianapolis. Indianapolis just outside of the wild card spot still. Houston leads the division, but Indy still plays them at least once this year. Hopefully they can get the win, close that gap, and maybe Tennessee can find a way, or Houston can find a way to lose a few games, help Indianapolis win that division, and Indy get into the playoffs. And with that being said, we're going to give you just a couple things real fast, just a couple tidbits on some other games that happened real fast. The Browns snapped their 25-game losing streak on the road. They almost tied the longest record. That one was the Lions, who had 26. So they stopped that one. Congratulations to the Browns on doing that after they get the 35-20 win over the Bengals. That's the first time they've won on the road since 2015. And this here is pretty crazy to me. If you think about that, who was the last quarterback to get back-to-back wins for the Browns? You might have any idea? It was a shock to me. I didn't think about it. Once I started reading into it, I found out who it was. I was like, wow. Brian Hoyer. The last time they got back-to-back wins was 2014. And a lot of people are reading into this win like, oh my God, back-to-back wins, Baker Mayfield. Yeah, but now they go on the road this week, and that's going to be one of the games we're going to talk about right now, actually, is the Browns go on the road to play Houston. And everybody says, well, they've won their last 2 games. Yeah, but you know who they've beat? They beat 3 terrible defenses the last 3 weeks. They played the team that's the worst in the NFL, second worst in the NFL, and third worst in the NFL. Come on now, man. And they've only got 2 wins out of it. They haven't played a defense. And this week, they're headed to play a defense. We're going to find out what Baker Mayfield can do, because he's going to see J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney, and he's going to have his hands full with them boys. He's going to get hit. I can tell you that right now. He's going to get hit. We're going to find out how good he is, for sure, because Sean Watson, we know he can move around and get away from the pressure. We'll find out. Nick Chubb, he's a good runner, but we're going to find out how good he is. I'm excited for this game, for sure. I think Houston wins it, though, but I'm excited to see it because I want to see if they're really as good as people make them out to be, for sure. Considering, they've won 2 in a row. Now they're all getting all hyped and happy and pumped and ready to go, and now everybody's like, oh, boy. Yeah. See what can happen, for sure. But I don't like some of the stuff Baker said after the wins. He went over, Hugh Jackson shook his hand, patted him on the head. Then in the conference, he's like, it's short, simple, I don't want to talk to him. Why? He traded on us. He worked for us, told us we were guys, and he goes over to another locker room. Whoa! Then he calls him out and says, well, you lost 30-plus games and so on and so forth. I don't like that, Baker. I do not like that. Reason I don't like that, I like my quarterback's quiet. I don't like to make a whole lot of noise. I don't like that. Plus, aren't you let me just think about this real quick. Aren't you a traitor yourself? You went to a rival in the same conference in college. And what did he do? He got fired from the Browns. He didn't leave. He got fired and went to a division foe rival. But you did the same thing. You went from Texas Tech over to Oklahoma. Both of them in the Big 12. Really? And you didn't do the same thing? Or then he comes back with, oh, well, I wasn't going to have a scholarship. Did you have a scholarship at Oklahoma? No. You had to earn it. Why couldn't you earn it at Texas Tech? I don't like the way you went about that one, bud. Should have went that a little different for sure, especially knowing your past, and you knew exactly what you did, saying he was a traitor, and you've already traded once, went from one Big Ten school to another Big Ten school that was a foe, just like you did. Come on now, man. That's what I don't understand in him. I like him as a quarterback. I don't think he's terrible. I just think he makes a lot of noise, and he's going to get himself in trouble being like that, and I don't like it. And I think this week he's got his hands full way more than he's ready for, and I think he gets beat. I think they get beat 20-34. I think he gets beat by 14. The spread on that game is only, I think, like 7 is what they got it at, so they got to mark that. No, it's down to 5.5 now. So the spread is down to 5.5. I got it at 14. I think they get their doors blown flat off. I don't think Baker's ready for that kind of defense. I think he's going to see something he's never seen. I think he's getting beat. Another matchup that's a big one. Dallas getting back on track. Got a big win this week over the Skins. So they're back on track, I think, but they can only win one way. The Saints can win numerous amounts of ways, and that's who they're playing this week. Saints-Cowboys, Thursday Night Football in Dallas. It's going to be a game, folks. Man, it's going to be one. I'm ready for it. I want to see what Prescott can do. I want to see what Elliott can do. And I want to see if they can step up to that moment and play against the team who's on a 10-game winning streak, the MVP, who's only thrown 2 interceptions this year. I did say he had one earlier tonight, but he does have two. Thrown 2 interceptions this year. I want to see if that defense, can step up. I want to see if that offensive line can step up and get yards for Zeke. I want to see if they can give time to Dak Prescott. And I want to see if he can make stuff happen with Amari Cooper. Because Amari Cooper is he's turning into what they needed, for sure. Because that's opening up Cole Beasley. That's opening up all of his other guys. Geronimo, and all them, not Geronimo, but all of them, to allow them to get the ball to them. Because now they got to worry about Amari Cooper. I want to see what they can do. I really do. I don't think they can hang around long in this game. I really don't. I don't think Dallas has a chance, to be honest with you, because the Saints just got so many ways they can beat you. They got Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas. Too many people. Too much. And they don't have enough to cover it. And they win this game easily, 38-26. It's 12 points, I think, the spread. And they got it at 7.5. For the Saints, they're only going to give them a touchdown, just over a touchdown. I think they beat them by way more than a touchdown. So if you're taking anyone on that game, take the Saints to cover the spread, folks. Another matchup. This one here is phenomenal. Quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady. A matchup of 2 great quarterbacks going head-to-head, ready to go, meeting up with each other. And hey, it's about to be right up my alley, for sure. Because Kirk Cousins coming off the big win against Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady coming up off a bye. And I just want to see what they can do, for sure. Because they are a good team. And with Tom Brady going against a pretty solid defense, not the best defense, but a good defense, but Kirk Cousins going against a better defense than most of the teams he's faced this year is going against the Phenom and Tom Brady. As mentioned, they are 125-15 when they don't turn the football over, and they do not beat themselves. They're playing this game in Foxborough. Where do you think it goes? Plus, they got the better head coach. Tom Brady, I think, wins this game. I think it's a close one. I think it's close. Most of the games when they play against people like this are close. He barely beat Patrick Mahomes. He beat him by 3. I think it's going to be a close one. I think most of the games like this are going to be, they're older. I think the biggest reason that they win these games is because of knowledge, smartness of Brady and Belichick. That's how they win these games. And I got this one being a 3-point game as well. 27-24, the Pats winning this game. And they have the spread as 5. They got it as 5 for the Patriots to win this game. I think you got to take Minnesota. If you're going against the spread, I think you got to take Minnesota. I think they only win it by 3. Think about it. Patrick Mahomes, that was a shootout of a game. Last time they were in a shootout, they won by 3. So I think you got to take Minnesota in this game if you're placing a bet, because that one right there could be the upset on paper and could beat them as well in the stadium. So that's going to be a matchup to watch. It's going to be the 4 o'clock game, so make sure you watch it. It's probably going to be America's game of the week. Another matchup I'm fired up for is the Chargers and the Steelers. The Steelers coming off a loss after a terrible, terrible pass. The worst pass I've ever seen Big Ben throw. He threw that ball right there to Shelby Harris, who jumped back after the offensive line, got its push forward, threw the interception that snapped their 6-game winning streak. They were defeated, and that was not good, for sure. And I was pretty upset to see that Big Ben did that. And he set career highs, 25 completions in the first half. He had a good game all up until the point when he threw that interception. Now he's back, trying to get his team back on track. After that tough mistake, but he's playing against a team that's tough. And Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers don't back down. They got the win this week. Big win over Arizona. He, as mentioned earlier, set the completion record for completion percentage during a game this week. So he had a phenomenal game. But the problem is, are they going to be able to guard Juju Smith-Schuster? They're going to be able to stop Antonio Brown. They're going to be able to stop James Conner. That's going to be the problem, because those two are point-scoring machines, and Big Ben can throw for some yards. And I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a tough fight between both of these teams. I think Big Ben just prevails and is a little bit stronger. I had the Chargers up, if this would have been a couple weeks ago, winning this game. But I think after that loss that they both suffered to Denver, both of these teams have been defeated by Denver as well. Just so everybody knows, 2 weeks ago it was the Chargers. This week it was the Steelers. So both teams have been defeated by them. And I think that after the loss, the Steelers are on a bounce-back road and ready to win, because exactly what happened with the Chargers. They got beat by Denver and came back and won against Arizona. I think the Steelers do the same thing. They take the loss, bounce back, and get the win this week over the Chargers, but they do it in a close game. 27-23, 4 points. What is the spread on the sheet here? The spread on the sheet they have this is 3.5. I'm right at the number. So 3.5 for the Steelers. I'm staying away from that game. I'm staying away from it if I'm betting because it's right on the line. It's going to be a close matchup. If you're choosing that game, stay away from it. Just know it's going to be a tough matchup, so stay away. And then the other matchup I have is the Monday Night Football game. And this is a matchup that I'm kind of interested in. The reason I'm interested in it is because it is a conference matchup. And I know that Alex Smith is hurt. Want to hope him a speedy recovery with the injury, broken fib and tibia he had just the other week. Now they have Colt McCoy in there, but they still have Adrian Peterson. They still have Jordan Reed and all of their offense. The problem is they still have Colt McCoy as a quarterback. Not a whole lot of time under center for Colt McCoy. Kind of curious on what he can do. He's about to see a very, very experienced team in Philadelphia, and they have won a Super Bowl, and they know how to play, and they seem to be getting back on track. Carson Wentz is back on track. The Eagles have defeated the Giants last week for their 5th straight time in a row. So they're back on it again. I think the confidence is coming back alive for the Eagles. They said they're here to try to win that division still. I think with the injury to Alex Smith, which hurt the team a lot, now they are not the favorite. They were the favorite until the injury of Alex Smith. After they have already been defeated by the Cowboys, now they are no longer the favorites because of Colt McCoy at quarterback. I think the Phillies trying to reclaim that, hey, we're still here. Dallas isn't just going to douse its way into the playoffs, and I think Philly is here to fight. I got Philly winning this game by 6, 26-32. Give me Philly. Carson Wentz is back on track. I think Adams is ready to go, and I think that Zach Ertz is going to be on a machine of a team. I know Washington just went and picked up a player. They just went and picked up Reuben Foster today, the one who was released from the 49ers after his domestic disputes. They picked up yet another defensive player. So they have a stacked defense. They have Reuben Foster. They got Clinton Dix. They got 2 tight ends. Who do they got? They got, what's his name, who plays tight end for him, who used to play here in Carolina. They have a stacked team. So their defense looks phenomenal. And I think that's what's going to win it for them if they do. And I just don't think the offense can put points on the board. That's why I think it's going to be a good game, 32-26 for the Eagles. And the spread for this game is at 6.5. I got it at 6, right at it again. I'm staying away from it if I am a betting man. Also, last thing I want to touch bases on real fast, the Jags have fired their offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hatchett. He's only averaging 17.9 points a game, and they've also been benched Blake Bortles, who is no longer the starting quarterback for that team, put in Cody Kessler. And now you got to kind of wonder who's going to get the what position for Jacksonville after this week's over. And Leonard Fournette is suspended after the brawl they had. They had 2 brawls in college and now 1 in the NFL, 3 brawls all weekend. Leonard Fournette, their leading back, is yet suspended, and they're going to have to run the ball with TJ Yeldon this week. And I just don't know if they have the power to be able to win a game without Leonard Fournette, and especially Cody Kessler. So a lot has changed for the Jaguars after they named themselves Saxonville. Just like I mentioned, they created a name for themselves and they fell apart. I did not like them at the start of the year. Everybody was high on Jacksonville's horse, on their high horse. I said Indianapolis was going to win that division, and I said Jacksonville was going to finish last. So far, Jacksonville is last, and Indy still has a shot to win that division. I said it was going to be a close race between them and Houston, and so far, that's what it's shaking out to be. So, been right on that so far, but make sure you tune in here next week to find out how these games went for Week 13. Get some more interesting numbers right here on the Red Line. We'll see you guys then.